Like a sapling that's just been planted, you feel vulnerable and unstable, but Rock Solid will help you feel strong and enabled. Like a heavy dark sky filled with thunder, you may feel scared and lost. Rock Solid will help you no matter what the cost. Like a newborn animal starting to walk for the first time, you may feel fragile and weak. Rock Solid will give you a helping hand to get you back on your feet. Like the sun reappearing after a heavy rainstorm, you may feel nervous and unable to speak. Rock Solid will give you a chance to vocally leak. Like when a baby bird knows when it is time to leave its mother's nest, Rock Solid will guide you and support you through your new independent life skills quest.
Hi, my name's Dot Butler and I'm married to Derek, and together we actually founded Rock Solid. What if we had some flats or some houses and we could place particularly care leavers in them, but where they had support, where they had a named support worker, and where they would still see the social workers and they would still know people within the organisation.
Rock Solid is a supported housing charity. It predominantly works with young people 16 to 25 who've been either through the care system or who have got other life controlling issues or behavioural issues, so young people with drug and alcohol problems, or young people who've been in prison, young people who've had emotional and behavioural difficulties, family breakdowns and so on. As I say, a lot of them have been through the care system and they found themselves, sometimes through their own fault but mostly not, homeless or at risk of homelessness. So we sought to develop a charity that would work specifically with that age group and with that kind of problem area, because we feel that those young people need special assistance really in order to navigate our complex society and to reach their potential.
Started using heroin when I was 17. I'm 29 now, so throughout that time I was homeless, thieving, been to jail until I had my little girl. I was clean and things didn't work out, and I just carried on taking heroin. I think I got to the lowest point where I committed an offence and was given 3-year custody, and that's where I started to think, well, right, I've wasted half my life on heroin. Now's the time to turn it around. So I started looking into places of support who could help me, how much support I could get, and I just spoke to my probation officer, who referred me to a place called A Way Out, who work with Rock Solid.
A Way Out stands for At-Risk Women and Youth Outreach, and our vision is to see an end to addiction, poverty and abuse amongst women and young people.
I'd been living on my own and I had a lot of problems, and I decided that I could do it all myself and realised I couldn't. And I started drinking really heavily, got kicked out of college, got kicked out of where I was living, didn't have any friends, and I didn't really know what to do. And I was going out with a guy at the time who introduced me to A Way Out, just to come for a drop-in for something to eat actually. And so I got talking to somebody and they said, oh, why don't you come next week? So I came the next week, and then eventually I started like having one-to-ones, and before I knew it I was on the Heart to Change programme and been on that for a year now.
I think it's very hard for an 18-year-old or even a 16-year-old, particularly a 16-year-old who have been in care, to suddenly step out into this big wide world without ongoing support. So our aim is to empower and enable and equip the young people so that they can move on towards independent living where they don't have to have support workers. But in order for them to do that, they need a lot of input. They need people who can offer guidance. They need to access all the services that are out there, and they need to know that there is someone stable in their lives, their key worker, who they can go to, they can talk things out with, and who they know will actually be there for them.
A Way Out got me my place with Rock Solid as well, so it's just like, because I've spent the last 3 years living on people's couches and in and out of flats and losing places and having no money and getting into debt. It's just been total security. Like, I know that at the end of the day I can still go home and go to bed and have something to eat and chill out in my house, and I don't have to worry about who's going to say what to me or where I'm going to stay or what the weather's going to be like. I can just, and of course I've got the best housemate ever, so that just makes it better. It's like living with your best friend all the time. It's brilliant.
And I think I was due out. I think A Way Out came to see me 2 weeks before I was released. And within that 2 weeks, they referred me to Rock Solid, who found me this lovely house. Otherwise, I would have been homeless on release of being in custody, so...
So just to give you an example really, we had a young man who was referred to us who is a Gypsy Romney traveller ethnic origin. He'd been viciously assaulted in his home and he needed to be somewhere safe. We accommodated him and then we moved him into a house in the community. And unfortunately he was also again viciously attacked. His assailant was arrested and has subsequently been charged. But it meant that he had to move from where he was with us, and we spent a couple of months while he was sofa surfing, staying in touch with him, trying to give him positive reassurance that we would rehouse him again as soon as we had an available space that was out of area. And then we did manage, because we'd moved into the Stockton area, to find a house and to put him in it.
I know I lost my father when I was 10-year-old. He died of cancer. And I come from a big family, a family of 8, and my mother raised us all, and 6 boys. It was a bit of a handful kind of thing. Got into my teenage years and into selling drugs, and then just worked from there really, and it all just followed from there kind of thing. It was I've been in that prison for like knife crimes and other just stupid things really, just stupid criminal offences, and just a lifestyle I couldn't find my way out of kind of thing, and just kept wherever I went in the country, and just got into the same things, and just digging a bigger hole for myself really. And when I lost my parents, I kind of blamed everybody really. I blamed everyone for it, and fell out with all my family over it, and not just over that, just a way of showing my instead of grieving like any normal person would, I would resort to violence and take it out on other people. I always knew I needed to change, but I wasn't wasn't ready kind of thing at the time, and because I come from a travelling background, and when I was in Durham I had a support worker that worked with just travellers, and she introduced me to Rock Solid. I was a bit worried because I didn't know what it was kind of thing, and but yeah, I knew it'd be alright for me kind of thing. So my main high is obviously serving God now. It's my life revolves around him. He comes first amongst anything really, and just to help other people really. And I think that's a big achievement in life, just helping folk that don't know a way out of their lifestyles kind of thing. And that's a better buzz than anything really. It's something that you can take with you to the grave. Brian's he's one of the support workers for Rock Solid, and he runs a charity thing called North East Help Link, and he feeds not just homeless but people with addictions and alcohol problems, and in around Middlesbrough and Stockton. And it was just before Christmas I used to go with him, but it was kind of a thing I was just going with him just to get out kind of thing, and just as I gradually got along I actually thought, well, these people actually need help, don't they? On my way back I realised I had nothing left, and I said, look Brian, I want to give my life to Jesus, and I spent Christmas in the bottom of a bottle, and it was the first Sunday in this year In January I went, and that was it. It just changed my life really. It was everything changed really. It was like what I was looking for all my life kind of thing.
Our approach is that we take each individual young person as a unique person, so we don't stereotype people, we don't have a set programme. We risk assess everybody, we make sure that appropriate checks are done on everybody, and then we match people if they're going to be in a shared house or if they're going to be in a single flat. And then we allocate a key worker, again, who we match to that young person to give it the optimum chance of success. So we deal with them where they're at. So whether that's, you know, going off to college and already really succeeding in life but just too young and immature to actually manage alone, or whether they're absolutely doing nothing and have not been in any kind of education or social networking or anything at all, and we try and encourage them to start from where they are.
I'd heard about Rock Solid, and I knew Derek, and so I thought I'll give them a go. And it's been a wonderful experience because it's been very, very smooth. They've handled every situation, whether, you know, obviously you always get bits and bobs on houses, always things going wrong, and gas checks and roof checks and all the rest of it. But it's been very, very smooth, and they've obviously got a great tenant in John Paul, and they've looked after him well, and I think his life has really, really transformed. So, and he's getting married, of course. So, I mean, we're delighted all around, really, and we look to doing further, you know, with Rock Solid as the opportunities arise, you know.
As part of support sessions, we try to encourage them to come here to the polytunnel, because living on a budget, of course, as you can imagine, when you're paying your rent and you've got other bills coming out like your mobile phone or for leisure. So we encourage them to come here and plant some of the vegetables in the garden that they can grow, nurture, and they can see it growing, which is always nice, and tend to it. And it's also very calming for them as well. It's a nice calm environment where they can just get their hands dirty, they can de-stress, and they can just have a lovely, lovely time in here on a support session. I found the arts class to do, which is all about well-being and health, because it's so lovely down there to do the artwork, and it really is de-stressful for them, and it's just nice to get down there and meet other people, and it helps them socialise as well.
We do get a lot of people referred through either the GP or partner organisations such as Rock Solid, who deal with clients who are maybe of a vulnerable nature, suffering from mental health problems, and it's just some people come on with key workers as well, just to kind of that bit of extra support.
Since I've moved into Rock Solid, I felt safe. It made me more like better about myself now. I used to live on the streets for a while, then I went to when I was living down south, I was living in supported housing. Came back up to north east and had nowhere else to go. Then I went to council and they told us about Rock Solid, and so they phoned up, got me a place, interview with them, and they moved me in on the same day.
At the moment we have a total of 27 young people living in Aycliffe on the project in our Stockton homes, and we have a staff team of 7 at the moment. Obviously they've come from all walks, backgrounds and life, all individual with their own, obviously individual needs. It can range from anything. We'll get a lot of young people here with drug abuse problems, alcohol problems, those who have come from domestic violence, families, relationships. And as I say, on a day-to-day basis, we just give them the consistency that they've never had before in a family environment. We don't wish to replace that with them, but obviously we just want to give them some kind of place that's comfortable, they feel safe, secure, with no problem, well, less problems what they've come from, I suppose.
With dyspraxia, it's like a learning difficulty, where sometimes it takes me longer to learn or to read something or to take it in than it does for other people. I do miss home, yeah, but I think this is just the right time for me to be here at the moment. Maybe in the future I might go back, yeah, but for now this is right for me for now, because I've always been in families, my birth family, my adoptive family, my foster family. I would advise any, young person who doesn't have anywhere to go, kind of thing.
I think the background that most of our workers come from is a health and social care background, and a lot of the studying that we've done relates to a concept called Maslow's hierarchy of need. And what that effectively says is that the most important need that people have is actually the basics of life. That if people don't have accommodation, if they don't have a place to lay their head, if they don't know where their food is coming from, if they don't have that simple security of knowing that they're safe, then they can't actually do all the other stuff that most of us take for granted, like going to college or going to work or building relationships, just functioning in life. So the first thing that we set off to do is to build that foundation, that platform for life for them, by giving them a safe and secure home where they can then move on. Every year our staff decide that they're going to do a challenge, and part of that is to raise money for all of the things that our public funding doesn't allow for. So we raise money for things like holidays and outings, educational trips and extra special things that the young people need, Christmas and birthdays, because that's the only way that we get the funding through. So this year the staff decided that they would look at doing something, the Three Peaks Challenge. It's actually tremendously strenuous physical activity. They have to climb 3 mountains, one in Scotland, one in the Lake District and one in Wales, and all within a very short time period, 24 hours.
So we did a trip to Switzerland that was really successful, and we raised about £4,500 doing that, which was a great incentive for the kids, because as I said, both the younger ones under 18s got a holiday, and the over 18s into adults, they got a holiday and that as well. And that's just fantastic for them to sort of like be able to take them away, and for their moral and self-esteem, so it was amazing. So obviously it was so good last year, we thought we'd want to do the same again this year. Hence the idea was come up with the 3 Peaks, obviously to raise money again, and that's been really successful again this year. And on the strength of that, we've already paid a deposit for the satellite homes, the older children, to go on a 4-day holiday beginning of August. So, you know, the morale around that and excitement for the kids is just, it's worth everything we do for them, really. It's really worth it. And every member of this team, they're an absolute asset to the team, every one of them. And every one of them will go out the way on a day-to-day basis to help and support the young people. And the commitment to them, to the charity work that we do every year to be able to get them a holiday, is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's more than what I ever expected from people, but every one of the team, do you know what I mean? They're sort of like going beyond the call of duty on a day-to-day basis, never mind on a yearly basis, to put themselves out for the young people. It's amazing.
So grateful for everybody who helps us as a charity. To think that there were people who were willing to give up their time to sort of buy the gear, and we had one young person from the charity actually walking, we had other volunteers, the local police actually wanted to join in because they come to our meetings and they work very closely with all of our young people, and we were absolutely thrilled. And it does actually represent what it is they have to go through, because they often start, you know, at a very low sort of level in terms of their self-esteem, their self-confidence, but with the right help and support, they can actually climb that mountain themselves and become the people that actually they deserve to be. I think what really excites me about the future is that we are looking to achieve real outcomes. We're not really interested in sort of quantity. We don't want an organisation that has 300 young people living in sort of flats and houses. We're really happy to have a smaller number, but to be able to do a more profound piece of work with these young people who have very serious issues.